Well then, Joe, let me welcome you to the Grindhouse. Because we're in a theater, you see.
Yeah. From your buddies, the Weinsteins.
Not my buddies.
Uh, uh.
I don't I don't even know them motherfuckers, Joe.
So, Grindhouse. This was an experimental thing, right? This was your
Uh
pick, so give us a little bit of the history on this.
so the history on this is Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. I think Robert Rodriguez came up with the idea to make a Grindhouse double feature to simulate what a double movie night would be at Quentin Tarantino's house, because I guess old QT would throw films together and have like a bunch of trailers in front of them and throw in those fucking what's it, the shit like you were doing, and let's all go to the lobby, and have like a old theatrical experience in his house. So I guess they were doing that at the time, and old Rodriguez had the idea for each of them to make a movie and combine them as a double feature, call it Grindhouse, get some fake trailers together, and that's what it was. Don't remember what the budget for the movie was, but there was a budget for one movie for Grindhouse, and it was cut in half, or however they split it up. If I'd have to guess, Quentin Tarantino got more just because he's Quentin Tarantino, but who knows? Maybe it was 50-50. And where was I going with that? So yeah, it was two different movies, and they were not the 90-minute run length, or the 90-minute that most theatrical movies are. They were a little bit less, just so it wouldn't be so much for the audience to take in at once, because I did see this one in the theater, and towards the end, towards the middle of Death Proof, you definitely feel the length of this fucking movie. But we'll talk about that next week, Joe, because I've only seen Death Proof once, and that was when I went to old AMC on the Thursday night that it was released. Back in the day, they didn't have fucking, oh, you can just go at 3 o'clock Thursday and see the new movie that's not supposed to come out till tomorrow. You had to go at like 10 o'clock midnight to see the motherfucker, and there was only one showing. And you bet your ass I was there, boy. I was there. Kinda forever. Sorry, it's this. My bad. So, Joe, did you see this in the theater?
I also saw this in the theater, Tom. I remember it not being a very crowded theater. But yeah, I was there. I watched the whole thing. Same thing with you. I was like, yes, you're getting kind of grueling, you know? How much longer can this go on? But uh but yeah, it was an experience, you know? It was a cool experiment I thought they did. I don't remember. I don't think it was successful for them, but Rodriguez definitely turned it into something for himself. But yeah, I feel that this one is the better of the two movies.
Yeah, as we talked about before, this is my favorite horror movie. Now, is it a horror movie? Mm. But if you got to categorize it as something, I guess it would be horror and sell it to the horror crowd. So, yeah, this movie's fucking great. It's about a chemical, I forget what it's called, a chemical weapon. Was it made by the Taliban, or did the Americans fucking sell it to the Taliban or something? Little gray area how the Taliban actually got this stuff, but they got this chemical weapon that's turning motherfuckers. What are they maybe they're turning them into like the rage zombies from 28 days later, where they're just like weird cannibalistic killers that maybe they're going to use it as a weapon. Maybe they're just going to use it to drop on their enemies and wipe out their enemies that way. Doesn't really get into that. You just got to know that this fucking chemical gets airborne and starts turning everybody into these fucking bubbly, herpy fucking monster things that just look like, ooh, I forgot to wear oven mitts when I was getting the pizza out of the oven, and now I'm all blistering up everywhere. So it focuses on a go-go dancer named Cherry Darling. Or Joe, what's the other name she's known as?
Fuck, I don't remember.
Bobomita. I was hoping you'd say it like a Mexican guy.
I don't remember. What is it?
Bobomita.
Bobomita? That doesn't make no sense.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's what old El Rey was saying. Or maybe it's Bumblemita. Is there any Spanish word that kind of sounds like that shit, motherfucker?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways, she's getting tired of the old sex work game. So she's gonna quit her job as a dancer, and then her fucking night just goes to hell in a heck basket, Joe. This toxin chemical weapon gets released into the air, and it's just what happens from there. She runs into an old boyfriend named El Rey at the best goddamn barbecue restaurant in Texas, JT's Bone Shack. And things just kind of go from there, Joe. And then there's another set of characters who we are introduced to. A couple of doctors, maybe one doctor, maybe one's a nurse or a nursing assistant, Joe. Why don't you tell us about them?
I think she was more of a PA or a nurse practitioner. We'll say that. Um, they seem to have a rocky relationship, Tom. The male portion of this couple is played by, what's his name? Josh Brolin.
Thanos.
Yes, old Thanos now. And he seems quite upset with his bride. And seeing like maybe she's messing around on him. Now, the bride chick, the nurse practitioner, she's played by the lifeguard from The Sandlot. And they get to the hospital, and there's some weird shit going on. People are being brought in, more people than usual. There's all kinds of like bad shit going on. But he's already looked at her phone and knows for a fact that she's messing around on him, Tom. He's going to let that go down. He's a doctor. You know, he's embarrassed like that. So he decides.
He's not only a doctor, Joe, but he's also a mad titan.
He is. And her specialty is injecting people. And that comes in a little later in the movie. She's got these little, I don't know, fucking garter belt injection things. It's really silly.
Dude, when fucking he has her in the closet and he's pulling those fucking caps off and fucking spitting her out at her head, that's like the rawest shit I've ever seen in a fucking movie ever. You feel each one of those motherfuckers hit her in the goddamn face.
So he gets infected. So he's still after her. And
so one of his buddies comes in and says, "Hey, I just got bit 30 minutes ago." And they say, "What? This rat looks like it's been here for 14 days, motherfucker. We got to cut your arm off, you what?" So this shit infects you fucking quick and hard. And all these cases are coming into the hospital either from being bit or exposed to the gas that was released into the air.
yeah, so she's running away from this guy. He's chasing her down. She wants to go get her son, you know.
Every time I see this goddamn movie, when that motherfucker blows his head off, I laugh so goddamn hard.
Turns out her dad is the local sheriff, maybe,
Earl McGraw,
and they seem to have a rocky relationship, Tom. They're not on the best of
because
terms.
she's an undercover lesbian with a husband he doesn't care for.
Yep. And that's the whole thing. That's like her secret reveal is that she is having an affair, but it's with a woman, which probably not as shocking now if you've never seen this movie, but back then it was okay. Grindhouse. Um, they meet up with the other group of survivors, El Rey and his Rose McGowan girl, and they're all being hunted down because there's plenty of infected now, and they're kind of just shacked up at the Bone Shack for a while, Tom.
Best in Texas.
During the course of this movie, too, there's a whole lot of grain effect, you know, to make it look like the film was all scratched up. There's a little too much of that. You know, the movies that came out back then, they didn't really fucking look like that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look natural like an old Grindhouse movie would, but this doesn't even feel like an old Grindhouse movie. This is more stylized Grindhouse, if we can say that.
Yeah. They get together. They decide, you know, they're finding out that it's not just any ordinary Mexican, Tom. It's El Rey. And what's El Rey's secret past? We don't know. They just kind of give us hints here and there. But he was some kind
And
of
Robert
badass.
Rodriguez does not know either.
No.
He's just supposed to be the most badass who's ever badassed.
He
And
was a
that was
TV
the
station at one point. But
he wasn't
now, now, now he's just driving a wrecker. But he's got to bring those old skills back, you know, to take out the mutants. And we're introduced to another batch of mutants, Tom. Tell us all about these rapists.
Well, they're not mutants, they're sickos, Joe,
Are
because
they?
they're
Okay.
infected, so they call them sickos. So yeah, at the beginning, which I didn't talk about, Bruce Willis and his army buddies, Bruce Willis actually killed Osama bin Laden. He came across Osama and the Taliban and shit when they were fucking with the DC-10. That's what it is, I'm pretty sure. When they were fucking with this DC-10, and he killed bin Laden, and then they got exposed to the chemical, and the only cure right now for this chemical is small doses of this DC-10 to like regulate their systems or whatever to keep it under control. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But Bruce Willis and his army buddies, they make a deal with one of the Taliban dudes to get him DC-10 for whatever reason, money, I guess. And at the beginning, the Taliban dude who's working with them brings them to the base who has more DC-10, and shit goes fucking sideways. So fucking, I forget guy's name, the Taliban guy, but he's just pretty much like fuck it and shoots the canisters and lets everything out into the air for some reason, even though fucking like 50 minutes later, oh, we should all go find an antidote and shit. Whatever. But so yeah, now Bruce Willis in the army, they know what's up, and they're all infected and shit. They're just trying to find more of this DC-10. But as everybody escapes from the bone shack because each location they go to, everything just gets destroyed. They go to the hospital, it gets destroyed. They go to the police station where they meet up with old Tom Savini and fucking the Terminator guy. That fucking burns down and gets destroyed. They go to the bone shack, that burns down and fucking gets destroyed. So then they're driving and they come across a bridge and fucking sickos are on both sides of them. They're just like, God damn it, we don't have enough ammo for this shit, motherfucker. And then from behind, all the zombies just keep getting shot. And then you find out that it's the fucking army guys. So they take everybody back, throw them in jail and shit. What reason? I don't know. They probably could have worked together, but they're all hopped up on this fucking DC-10. They don't know what the fuck to do. So OQT wants to get his dick wet. So, you know, this is probably the most grindhouse thing about this entry. Planet Terror is about to do some old-fashioned raping. If there's one staple of a grindhouse movie, it's rape.
Yeah.
If there's two staples of a grindhouse movie, there's two rapes. And in this movie, there was almost two rapes. But luckily, oh, what's her nuts? Marley Shelton Dakota, I think her name is. She has some of those fucking needles on her and has a little fucking gun gimmick she made or whatever to shoot them out. So they overtake the rapist. Quentin Tarantino's balls drip off and then he fucking pukes up his stomach or some shit. A lot of goofy, melty fucking pustule effects in here. And it's at that time uh they break out of the prison cell because Jeff Fahey, JT, he's like just doing like a bullshit diversion talking about his barbecue sauce and shit and creates a diversion. He ends up getting shot, but El Rey ends up shooting the guard and is able to open up the thing. So he makes a gun to put on fucking Cherry's leg, and from there it's fucking just more goddamn awesomeness, Joe. She's blowing fuck. Luckily, in the commentary, it discusses how she was able to, fire this gun without ever pushing the trigger, Joe. Did you think about that? How this gun fired like rockets and bullets and shit without that trigger ever being pulled?
No, because I'm watching a movie about, people with pustules, taking over, and no, this like it didn't matter to me.
No, well, then I'm not going to bring it up
Okay.
how it happened or anything. But then just from there, it's just, hey, let's kill as many fucking sickos as we can with this broad with a fucking gun for a leg. And god damn it, Joe, it is fucking awesome. And then out of nowhere, the Taliban guy's head explodes in a fucking awesome way. During they're trying to get to a helicopter, El Rey ends up getting shot, saving Cherry. He tells Cherry that he knocked her up because he never misses. He dies, and they fucking. You see, Joe, in real life, the Mexicans try and get into America. But in
now,
this fantasy world, the Americans are going to migrate to Mexico. And everyone lives happily ever after in Mayan temples
and
shit.
Machu Picchu or some shit.
Yeah, this movie's just fucking awesome fun. Doesn't take itself seriously at all. The gore is fucking ridiculous and over the top. The fucking monsters are just fucking ridiculous and over the top looking. It's just not taking itself seriously, knows what it is, knows it's just a fucking fun time. If I have one thing that I don't like, it's like some of the CG's kind of but I mean you go back and watch pretty much anything from before and the CG isn't going to hold up. And if I got two things, should have let the dog live, but You know, it's a Grindhouse movie. You got to hit them with the bullshit. All right, that's
Grindhouse.
yeah. But
Um,
other than that, I fucking love this shit, Joe.
it is a fun movie. I don't think it's anywhere close to Rodriguez's best. I enjoy Spy Kids probably more than this.
It's because George Lopez is in it.
Yes, all George, because Machete's in it. Um, Rose McGowan looks really, really good in this. Those twins are annoying as fuck and probably should have been cut from
Yeah,
the movie.
that's his nephews. He was really trying, or nieces, sorry. He was really, or I mean, for a couple years, they were really trying to make the crazy babysitter twins something.
Yeah, they did a few conventions, I remember. But nah, that was, I mean, I don't know. They're twins, okay.
Yeah, that I can never buy into.
That whole shit with the missing reel. Okay, it's a gag and I get it, but after the movie came out, people were like saying, "Oh yeah," because every once in a while there'd be a missing reel when you'd go watch a Grindhouse. No, that never fucking happened.
Well, maybe you got the prints early, Joe.
You know?
Maybe you got before they got to every other theater in America.
Sure, yeah, yeah. Because they looked through it and saw, oh, well, that's a missing rule. Well, you know, let's show it anyway. No, they didn't do that. Because even back then, people would have gone to the box office like, what the fuck? Give me my money back.
Well, I'm not calling you a fucking liar, Joe.
Yeah.
But in the commentary, he did say, oh, yeah, when we went to QT's house, there'd be things with missing reels and where the print would just be so bad, it would just turn reddish magenta.
Yeah,
And
now
I was like,
that shit gets old, you know? Now, I'm sure there's shit with missing reels. But back then, when the stuff was made, no. You know, when it was actually on the grindhouse circuit, if you want to call it that, or the drive-in circuit, no, there wasn't fucking missing reels. Um, what the fuck? Oh, we're talking about Grindhouse.
we're
Planet,
talking about Planet Terror.
Planet Terror. Yeah. Yeah, and he throws his kid in there with
Shoots
the
himself right in the head.
fucking Danny Torrance haircut that he's wearing. It's fun. It is definitely a fun movie. Like you said, some of it does not look good now, but some of it still looks pretty fucking great. Um, I dig it for the most part, but some of the dialogue and the way some of it looks like Tarantino had a bigger hand in the script and in some of the production of it than
The script, I guess, was written shortly after El Mariachi Road Racers, maybe somewhere around that time. It was like 30 pages, and then he dusted it off when they had the idea to do this. And
Mhm.
then he cast people, and then once he had the people cast, he reworked the script and finished writing it to play towards the actors he casted, which is great if you have the time and resources to fucking do that.
Yeah. And Rodriguez, one thing he was good at is making money for the producers. So, you know, after a while, they let him do shit like Spy Kids and Machete and whatever,
Sin City.
and
No,
getting
Sin City was before Planet Terror.
so yeah, so they let him do shit like Planet Terror. Uh, this also it's got the trailer to Machete. We didn't talk about that. How these things had fake trailers associated with them, and a lot of people after seeing this were more excited by that trailer than the two movies. And so that grew into its own franchise, which I wish they would have made at least one more. But now I think it's a little too late.
I mean, they could still make fucking Machete Kills. Or, no, Machete in Space. What's it
Yeah.
supposed to be called?
Machete in Space.
Is it? Okay, yeah, because Kills is the second one.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, that trailer's fucking dope as shit. I just figured we'd get into that when we actually talk about that one.
And, well, the trailer had more nudity than this movie did, which this was a big disappointment in this movie. You're going to make a Grindhouse movie. Don't just imply nudity. You got to show it.
In the commentary, he said he wanted to have the nudity up front, which there is very slightly in the back room of the top or go-go dance bar or whatever, because he said he wanted to hit you with it right up front so you'd be thinking there was more and more, but there never really was. So there's that.
Yeah.
Not saying it's a good bad choice or whatever, but there's the explanation.
Okay. Good explanation, Roberto.
Joe, you ever see this before?
Is that the book with all
That's a book, yes.
Yeah.
I'm covering
Yeah.
some of it up.
I remember, when the movie came out, I saw that at the old Barnes and Noble and thought about picking up a copy, but I never did.
I did, because as I told you, I love this fucking movie ever since I first saw it, Joe.
Hey, I liked it enough to make a metal piece of Cherry Darling.
Fuck yeah, and it sold, didn't it?
It did.
Fuck yeah.
It did.
But there's some concept art in here for what could have been the Sickos, and they are drastically different. They went with the design they did because they were easy to sculpt and make, and it would have been cheaper than the stuff I'm going to show you now, Joe. Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to kind of move it because I can't see the screen and what it's looking at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that looks like it would have been quite a bit of work.
Yeah. If they would have went with those mutant designs or that alien or something, that would have took a lot more time and a lot more money, something they didn't have. But I mean, the look that they got, I think it's perfect. It's like infected fucking motherfuckers and shit. So
Yeah.
shit's great. Fucking still holds up. I get choked up a couple times during the movie, so fuck. I would say, man, if that dog didn't die and that CGI was a little better, I'd like it more. But shit, when, excuse me, you're my favorite horror movie, how much better can you really get, Joe?